7. Time is 7:24. Your time check brought to you by the Taste of Philly. Devin, joining us on the line is 2nd Congressional candidate, Republican Eric Weissman. Eric, how are you this morning?
I'm awesome. Great to be with you, Tom and Devin.
Thanks, Eric. So tell us what's going on with the campaign and how you're feeling about the primary coming up next week.
Well, we're pretty excited about it. The primary, of course, is 6 days away, and we're in our final push. In the last few weeks, we've had events in each of the 10 counties in our district, and our volunteers have made 30,000 phone calls, personal phone calls to voters in the last 10 days. And we're feeling pretty optimistic. You know, this is an important election to keep Larimer County from being represented by Jared Polis.
Yeah, Larimer County is spoiled by having been in the 4th prior to that, with the exception of what's her bucket? I don't even want to say Betsy's name. So yes, this is a new thing for Larimer County, and Larimer County has 42% of the 2nd Congressional, so it'll be a very interesting race this year.
It will be interesting indeed, and Larimer County doesn't have to go back to bad Democratic representation. And of course, it's important that they choose the candidate who has the values that match the district, has the background that will appeal to voters district-wide, and the resources and organization to take the fight to Jared Polis.
Well, and it's interesting, having just gone up to Eagle County last week, Larimer County has nothing in common with the 2nd Congressional now, so we're still a little bit bitter and angry and upset about that. My mom lives just off of C-470 in Bellevue. She's in the 2nd Congressional District. What's it been like campaigning in the newly constructed 2nd Congressional District?
Well, of course, the district is diverse and has a lot of different local concerns, but the concerns of voters throughout the district are the same. They're concerned about how our government is stifling our economy, how they're concerned about their job opportunities and job stability, and they're concerned about spending and debt in Washington. So all of these concerns are common to, well, I imagine they're common to Americans throughout the United States, but they are certainly common to Republican voters throughout all 10 counties of our district.
Answer me this question, Eric. We've gotten a little bit of feedback on the campaign. It's gotten a little bit rough and tumble between you and Kevin. I wouldn't call it nasty, negative campaigning, but people have said you've gone unnecessarily aggressively after Kevin. Just any thoughts you want to respond, share as it relates to that? And then the follow-up to that would be, if Kevin wins the primary, I'm assuming you'll obviously endorse and support him, and we've asked Kevin the same question. His answer is yes.
Well, I also, if he were to win the primary, would naturally support him against Jared Polis. I think we both agree that Polis has to be replaced. This is a district where people are from different parts of the district and are not known throughout the district. Certainly, it's important that we make clear to the voters in this district a distinction between Kevin and me, and we do in fact have different things to offer the voters of the 2nd Congressional District. So, while he's got a long term, been running for or serving in the State House since 1998, I think it's fair to have the voters look at his record as a legislator and compare it with the contributions I've made in the private sector, and creating that contrast is important to help voters decide how to cast their valuable ballots.
So, assuming you come out of the primary and are up against Polis, what are the top things you're going to try to nail him on that you can help fix when you go to D.C. then?
Well, I think that there are two main reasons we need to fire Jared Polis. One is this incredible, undying support for the Obama agenda. I mean, we're talking about everything from stimulus, cap and trade, card check, Dodd-Frank, Obamacare, every major piece of legislation he's been there for, even, by the way, while sometimes writing editorials against them. That's one reason. He just doesn't vote for legislation that reflects the values of our 2nd Congressional District. The other is that we're talking about a congressman who used his position to make money by trading in stocks and making investments on companies that were affected by legislation he was shepherding through the Congress at the time. And I'm going to make sure that every voter in the 2nd Congressional District knows all about that by November 6th.
Well, and back to Jared's wealth, because it's going to become an issue. We were talking about this earlier, Eric. How do you compete against a guy who's got the ability and has proven he's willing to spend whatever it takes to buy a seat?
Well, I don't think you have to have more money than Congressman Polis, and I don't expect that we'll have more money than Congressman Polis because he's got such a big personal checkbook. But we do have to raise enough to get our message out competitively. Of course, Cory Gardner was elected with only about 2/3 of the hard money that Betsy Markey had. So you have to have enough to be competitive, but you don't have to have more. Now, voters should understand that beating Jared Polis will take resources, and that I've raised around 3 times as much money so far as Senator Lundberg, and so have demonstrated the ability to assemble resources for a campaign.
Excellent. Any final thoughts you want to share with the voters, our listeners, Eric, how to get in contact with you, find out more information about the campaign?
You bet. Our website is ericweissman.com, and there are 2 S's and 2 N's in Weissman. And at this point, with 6 days left, I'd say ericweissman.com/vote gives locations and instructions for voting in each county. And we'd say to the voters, make your preference, get your ballot mailed this week, and if not, you'll need to drop it off next week, because you want to make sure in this incredibly important election that your vote counts.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Eric, for joining us, and best of luck in the final week of campaigning. This is AM Colorado on News Talk 1310 KFKA with your host, Tom and Devin. Now over to the KFKA 24-hour News and Weather Center.